Today we're going to be talking about the pros and cons of owner financing versus landlording. So stay tuned. I'm going to show you both sides of this coin, and then you decide which one's for you. My name is Mitch Stephen, and I've been owner financing houses for over 2 decades. I have been a landlord. I am still a landlord in many cases, but I prefer owner financing or seller financing, or in other words, to be the bank as opposed to being the landlord. And that's pretty easy. I'm going to describe to you in the following episode how and why I like seller financing better than being a landlord. Once upon a time, I, Mitch Stephen, had 25 rentals, and I was supposed to clear $300 per month between what I owed on each rental and what I had to pay out. So I was supposed to clear about $7,500 a month, but it turned out I didn't clear any of it. And when I started to investigate, why was I not clearing that money? It's because the liabilities that I was responsible for as a landlord wiped out that $300. It maybe not wiped it out the first month or the second month I had the house, or even the 5th month or the 6th month. But before the year was over, there could be an event like an air conditioner going out. An air conditioner that cost $3,500 to replace. I had lost my profit for the whole year on that one mishap or that one tragic event where my air conditioner just decided it wasn't going to work anymore. So between the move-outs, the destruction that renters did to my properties, between the downtime, between when I had to make ready the house and clean it up and then run the ads, all the time that my houses weren't written, between all the different factors, I wasn't making any money out of that $7,500 potential positive cash flow. So I decided to do something about it, and I started looking into owner financing. So let's go down through the list of some of the pros and cons. When you're a landlord and you put someone in your house, what kind of upfront commitment do you get? You usually get 1 month's rent plus a deposit equal to 1 month's rent. So if the house is $1,500 a month, then you're collecting $3,000 up front, and the first $1,500 is going to what it's supposed to be going to, so you really only have $1,500 as security. Okay? Let's flip that over. If you're an owner financier, what's the upfront financial commitment from your buyer? Well, I require a minimum of 10% down. I average 12% down. But there have been days that someone gave me 25% or 30% down or even 50% down in my career. It doesn't happen every day, but at least I have that opportunity or that chance for something that good to happen to me. So, $3,000 or $15,000. $3,000 or $20,000. $3,000 or $10,000. There's no comparison of which strategy pulls the weight when it comes to upfront commitment. The owner finance strategy wins hands down. Now, let's talk about liabilities. When you're a landlord, you're responsible for everything from the mailbox out front all the way to the fence at the back of the backyard and everything in between. If it breaks, you got to pay for it. You also have to pay for liability insurance, I would guess. I mean, you don't have to pay for liability insurance, but if you don't have liability insurance and you're a landlord, I think you're being foolish. So let's go ahead and say that that's a no-brainer thing that you need to pay for. So you got all these liabilities and then including liability insurance in case someone gets hurt on your property. You go over to the seller financing strategy and you're not responsible for anything because it's not your house. You sold the house to the person that's living in it for that $10,000 or $15,000 down payment and for X amount of money per month for years until the mortgage is paid off. And you're the bank. If something breaks, if the air conditioner breaks or the hot water heater breaks, it's not the bank's responsibility that you owe the payments to come fix it. You own the house, you fix it. Then, because it's not your house, you don't need liability insurance. If someone gets hurt on their property, that's their problem. No one sues the mortgage company because someone fell down your flight of stairs that wasn't repaired right or needed to be fixed. Okay? So, in the liabilities department, the owner finance strategy wins hands down again. Let's talk about move-ins and move-outs. If you're a landlord, You've got people moving in and moving out. They're transient, to say the least. Tenants are transient. They don't have to stay there. They have no real commitment to stay there. Whether they stay or leave doesn't matter. There was another house down the street they can rent. It's not like the mindset of an owner. You see, when people buy my houses and I sell or finance them the house, they have a financial commitment that's very substantial, and they have an emotional commitment. The big difference between being a landlord and being an owner financier when it comes to tenants versus owners is tenants move into your house, tear your house down, and leave. Buyers move into your house, fix their house up, which is your collateral, and stay for years upon years, if not decades. Okay? So that's the big difference. Again, the owner finance strategy is the big winner. Where does the landlord win over seller financing? There's two areas, possibly, that this could be. When you are a landlord, you get to take advantage of appreciation and depreciation on your taxes as a tax write-off. When you're an owner financier, you lose appreciation. It's not your house anymore. So if the house goes to be $1 million, it's not your house in most cases. There is a little asterisk there. And then you don't get to depreciate the property anymore because it's not your property anymore. So let's talk about depreciation. You're in a business, and there are lots of other ways to find depreciation. One is how I find depreciation, and I seller finance everything I can. But one of the things I do with the money I make from the seller financing strategy is I buy forever assets. I buy boat and mini storages. When I buy something, I buy $1 million facility or a $1.5 million facility or a $3 million facility. You want to talk about a lot of depreciation? I get those depreciation. I may not have depreciation on my little houses, but I make so much money on my little houses that I'm able to go out and buy big businesses that have assets that I can depreciate. That's one way to overcome the depreciation thing. And then you're talking about appreciation. This landlord buys this house, and his big dream is that in 20 years from now, this house is going to be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars more than it was when he bought it 20 years ago. My personal experience is you really just float that house for 20 years until you sell it because you really don't make that much money on the spread. If you owe money on that house, it's very difficult to profit between what you collect and what you owe. It's very hard to profit on the spread. Now, I can understand that you make money if you were like you're buying houses in your IRA or your 401k and your retirement plan is paying cash for the house, then I get how you could make some money. Because when there's no debt on a house and you're renting it out, it's pretty easy to overcome some of the problems that rentals have. But for the most part, the landlords are waiting on appreciation. Now, I don't know how many of my episodes you've watched, but if you've watched the one with the case study or listened to me talk at all, you know that I'm buying houses for X and I'm selling them for 2X within 9 days. Now, I don't know how much appreciation these landlords on this side of the coin want to make, but do you want to annualize what rate of appreciation it is when I buy something for X and I sell it for 2X in 9 days? In order to annualize that, you would have to figure that profit every 9 days for a year and then do your math. It would be, let's just say, good enough. So I don't even worry about appreciation. These guys are waiting and waiting for the house to go up slowly. I focus on how to buy houses so cheap that the day that I buy them, they're worth twice what I buy them for. So appreciation doesn't even bother me at all that I'm not getting appreciation on my houses. Again, the things I buy with the money I make, they are appreciating. So when I buy a $2.4 million storage facility and I get depreciation on that, do you think that $2.4 million storage is going up in value over the years as well? Well, of course it is. In general, property values go up over time. They might divot or flatten out for a period of time, but over the years they inch up, right? My storage facilities inch up just like houses do. So this is why I don't worry about the loss of depreciation and appreciation. The whole concept behind, I would rather spend my time finding new properties than managing properties. I would rather go find another house I can buy for 50, 60 cents on the dollar than to spend time with property management. I just substitute the two. And then when I have money, I buy forever assets, which are things that I rent, but they're not nearly as volatile as rent houses or apartments. When I rent things, I rent boat storages, mini storages. When someone can't pay their boat or mini storage bill, it's not a big fight. They just move along. You know, it's stuff, you know. Or I get their boat. Either way, I'm not worried about it. In Texas, where I'm from, if we're foreclosing on a mini storage and we are Johnny on the spot with our notifications, we can have an auction on that storage on the 32nd day after they're late. So that's one of the reasons I pick storages. All right, again, if you're interested in my book, My Life in 1,000 Houses, and you want the first 100 pages free, just click on the link below or go to 1000houses.com. Check on the tab Free Stuff, and there'll be an offer there for the first 100 pages free for My Life in 1,000 Houses, Failing Forward to Financial Freedom. It's a digital download, so you could have that 100 pages right now in a few seconds. So check it out. The first 100 pages of my book, My Life in 1,000 Houses, Failing Forward to Financial Freedom. If you've liked this conversation, please hit subscribe. I want you to catch up with everything we're doing. We have a lot of neat conversations coming up. And please hit that like button because Google needs to know we're here. Thank you.